What's going on YouTube? Cloverbills here, back with not a Series 10 collaboration video, but this time we're gonna give yet again a bunch of rental codes to try out now that the ladder has reset. And now that we have a new month, you can go ahead and begin your ladder climb, and I've got 5 more new teams for you, the player slash viewer, to try out. If you remember back in Series 10, when it first started, I gave out 5 rental codes also with Xerneas, Zacian, both Calyrexes, and Kyogre, right? But this time we're going to use some of the ones that we've been using and developing in the team building videos. So stay tuned to see what we've got for you. But we're going to kick things off with Groudon. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Groudon rental code. Alright, and there it is. So basically, this is the only one that we haven't done a team building video yet. That'll come after this video, and then we're going to showcase it with a special guest, with someone who has done very, very well with Groudon. But I did want to at least get this video out, so this way you can try it for yourself, because the format has officially reset. So here's our Groudon team, and of course, a very nice partner with Groudon is Entei in Series 10. So we're putting Entei here, and it does have the Choice Scarf item. And if you look at the Pokepaste in the video description, we are an Adamant Entei, and we have a bunch of speed control on the team. So we have the Regieleki here with the Volt Switch of, the Electro Web, and we also have Suicune here. So Entei and Suicune, double dog combo. Suicune does have the Tailwind here, and I originally, I was thinking like, what kind of water type would go well with Groudon? Water Urshifu doesn't really like to be in the sun that much, so the other options were something like Tapu Fini or a Suicune. So in the end, I went with Suicune here, because first of all, it's bulky enough where we've EV'd it to survive a Rillaboom 252 Grassy Glide Adamant, and we've also EV'd it to survive Regieleki Thunderbolt, regardless timid or modest, right? So obviously, the Suicune's job here is, of course, it can't get intimidated or fake out, just like Entei, and you can go and get your speed control off with Tailwind, and you also have some coverage moves like Ice Beam for Landorus Eye, Scald for, just Incineroars, or anything weak to water in general, and potential burns onto something like a Zacian. And then Snarl, after Tailwind, you'll outspeed Calyrex Shadow, and it's some speed creepers, and then you can just snarl that thing to death, as well as Kyogre as well. So Suicune, really, really nice on a Groudon team. I'm not a real fan of Cherrim. I know it's good, but for me, I wanted to try something else. So I just went with a bunch of other standard things like Rillaboom and Stakataka. Now, the Rillaboom set is what we've been running all this time in our team building videos, but Stakataka this time, we've gone with the safety goggles instead of the Chople Berry now. Yes, I think it's time that we did use these safety goggles, because now we can just ignore Amoonguss Redirection or Volcarona Rage Powder, and then just go straight for the Xerneas and KO it, right? And we do have Protect this time. I forgo the Rock move on this particular team because, I do have Entei with Stone Edge, so I feel like that alone is okay. But for you viewers, if you would like to adjust the squad, you may do so. You can put the Rock move back. But yeah, I feel like safety goggles is a nice adjustment for the Stakataka rather than the Chople Berry. Alright, so Groudon itself, very relatively standard. Our EVs are, of course, we're Adamant, and we're going to the third bump here. And instead of Swords Dance, which you would think would be my preferred tech because I like to play greedy, I ended up going with Substitute this time, right? So still a really good move, but if you want to go Swords Dance, then yeah, that's totally fine as well. Substitute can really help against like Intimidate from like Incineroars, because you can't Intimidate through Substitute, so I felt like it was pretty good in Series 10, so you can go for that, but if you like Swords Dance, then yeah, alright. And of course the Rillaboom and the Aleki, they just help overall in like the Kyogre matchup, right? And Entei also has a dark move for Calyrex Shadow, and even a potential ground move that you could use against like Stakataka, or even like Incineroars or Regielekis in general. So there's our Groudon team. Again, we will release a team building video for Groudon after this, so stay tuned for that. But for now, let's take a look at the second rental code. Alright, for our next squad, we've got Yveltal. Now, technically, this Yveltal 6 that I have was already made public on Twitter a couple weeks ago, and also in my own Discord. By the way, if you haven't joined my Discord yet, the link is in the video description. But I have remastered the EVs and some of the item sets. So Yveltal stayed the same. The Rillaboom originally had a Life Orb on it because I couldn't put the Assault Vest on it. And while that worked well, I felt like just giving it a Miracle Seed and just giving it Wood Hammer this time around feels really, really good, especially against like the Kyogre Serena matchup where I can't click a priority move, so I can call a switch and then just go for a hard-hitting Wood Hammer, right? So I feel like Miracle Seed was totally fine on Rillaboom with the Yveltal carrying the Assault Vest. Again, the Stack Attacker, now we have the Safety Goggles, and we are running a Rock move this time because this is our only Mon with a Rock move, so this is good against an opposing Volcarona. And Regieleki just has, it's still the same speed control and also good against Flying types and Kyogre matchup. Volcarona has a couple of good tech choices. We've got Struggle Bug to neuter special attackers, and of course we have the Quiver Dance, Fiery Dance set, where we can go for some boosts, some greedy plays, so why not, right? And it's good against Zacian and even like opposing physical mons, like even a Water Urshifu where we could potentially burn them when they go for their Surging Strikes. Alright, the Water Urshifu, this is actually a different Adamant Mystic Water Urshifu that we are used to seeing in my team building videos. So what we did this time is we actually maxed out its speed, but we are still Adamant plus 76, so we're still at the first bump. But now the difference is because we maxed out at speed, we are at 149, and after an Electro Web from a Regieleki, now we can be faster than Calyrex Shadow after that hit and then just KO it, right? So I feel like that was very much worth it. The only thing now is Volcarona in the previous team was at 149. So to avoid the speed tie, I bumped up Volcarona's speed by 1 more point. So now it is at 150. So now you can outspeed, along with your Electro of other Calyrex Shadow speed creepers. So again, I made that adjustment so I wouldn't speed tie with my own Urshifu. But yeah, here is Yveltal. Give it a go. I promise you it's very, very solid. And even though Yveltal may not be as strong as some of the like S tier restricted, it's still very, very good in the hands of a good player with very good passion in pivoting, right? So now let's take a look at the third rental code. Alright, so this one is Ho-Oh, and this is probably the hardest one of the 5 to try and use. I did the best I could. I was trying out a lot of different versions, but I think ultimately I ended up with this particular set. So the Ho-Oh this time is going to have Safety Goggles. Actually, it had Safety Goggles in all the other pastes in the team building video. If you didn't check out that, be sure to check that out. But again, here's our Ho-Oh, very standard set, and of course the Safety Goggles, just so that we don't get slept, and we can just go straight into the Xerneas. And again, you have the positive matchup against Zacian, and Xerneas is not really going to do too much damage to you, even after that +2 Geomancy boost. So Ho-Oh does have its benefits. It's just like it's weak to a lot of other things in the meta, which is why we have the rest of the squad to try and cover for it. So Regieleki and Rillaboom, they're just gonna really, really help polish up the Kyogre matchup, and Rillaboom with the Assault Vest back this time. So a standard Rillaboom set with Grassy Glide, Fake Out, Knockoff, U-Turn. And our Water Urshifu once again is max speed but adamant with +76 with the Mystic Water item, where after the Electro Web you now outspeed Calyrex Shadow. And again, Incineroar is also here for Intimidate spam and Calyrex Shadow matchups, and just to be annoying in general, right? And then Stack Attacker, we're back with the Choppleberry this time, because we put the Safety Goggles on the on the Ho-Oh, right? So we got to think of something else to give it. You can also argue that you can give the safety goggles to the Incineroar, and then you can go with another item on Stack Attacker, like a Grassy Seed, or I've even seen some other stuff like Shuka Berry, but those aren't as common, right? But yeah, you can totally give the goggles to Incineroar if you so choose to. But on this kind of Ho-Oh team, again, you have the speed control with the Alecki here, and also the Trick Room from Stack Attacker. I think overall it's just like you take Ho-Oh and you surround it with 5 other broken Pokemon in the format, and now your squad is still okay. So if you're willing to try Ho-Oh out, here's the squad. So now let's go ahead and look at the 4th rental team. Alright, so coming in at number 4, we have Lunala, and I really like Lunala this format. I think it's one of the stronger restricteds. You can even argue it belongs in the category with like Zacian, Xerneas, and whatnot. Maybe just a tier below those two, but definitely up there. A very high A tier restricted in Series 10. And of course, you're going to be pairing it with Stack Attacker. So, like, you know, Lunala, very good in setting up Trick Room for Stack Attacker or vice versa, right? So, we do have a Meteor Beam set because we have the Power Herb item. Moongeist Beam is our stab move, very good against an opposing Calyrex Shadow. And very few things resist ghost moves, so, you know, it's always very nice. And Protect is my choice. I thought about Wide Guard, and I thought about another coverage move, like another psychic move, like Sly Shock or even Expanding Force. But I felt like just having Protect is always safe, you know. And the Stack Attack at this time has our safety goggles, and we're back with using the Rock move, of course. Rillaboom and Incineroar are relatively standard. You might notice that we're using the Miracle Seed Rillaboom this time instead of the Assault Vest, because the one that will really raise some eyebrows is the Tapu Koko on this team. So again, I was showcasing Tapu Koko in the team building video, but that one had the Life Orb set. This one has the Assault Vest with Nature's Madness. And a little bit of a shout out to Jones. I'll link his Twitter description below, because, you know, when I was asking for a little bit of advice, he showed me that he too was also using Koko with Lunala, funny enough, but with the Assault Vest, and these are the 4 moves that he was using. But I decided to change the EVs and calc for something, and it turns out that with the EV spreads that I have done, you live a modest 252 Mystic Water Kyogre Water Spout, alright? And it's a very good calc to have in hand, especially if you're Koko, where you can just go for like a Nature's Madness immediately and just bring Kyogre or like even Zacian or Xerneas drop down to half health. I think it's very nice. And you always have speed control with Electro Web, and you can pivot out with Volt Switch, similar to like Regieleki, except we're like a bulkier version of it, right? And we do have the Electric Terrain option, which can cancel out Amoonguss' stuff because sleep is annoying. Alright, and I know it may interfere a little bit with Rillaboom, but you can easily just play around that, so it's totally fine. People have run 2 terrains on their team before. Alright, and of course, we have the Mystic Water Urshifu set again. Urshifu is just really strong, and again, it is the new set that we're using, so yeah, give this Lunala squad a try, and overall, I feel like it's relatively consistent. You may have to use it a few times, especially to try and know when to use your Tapu Koko. But overall, Lunala, I always have trouble saying it. Stack Attacker, Rillaboom, and Incineroar are always going to be the top 4 you're going to bring, and some matchups will need the Urshifu as well. So give Lunala a try, and now we'll move into the final rental code, and it is my favorite rental. Alright, and the final rental code is my favorite one, like I just said, and it is my personal baby, right? Because it has a lot of the Clover Bells elements here. You have that Dragon, Fairy, Steel, Fire, Water, Grass double core here, a core that I liked to use in Series 8 when I built my Series 8 teams, and actually this 6 I had in Team Builder since early July, right? And I think I mentioned that in my team building video, but that time it was Life Orb Celesteela, Offensive Steela, And you know, just coming off of Dynamax, I really wanted to see if offensive Steela would work in Series 10. And sad to say, it just doesn't cut it. It's just too slow, and overall, you know, just can't quite have the impact without Dynamax. However, the Leech Seed set with Heavy Slam is very good for endgames, especially Heavy Slam against Xerneas. And if you can, again, pair it with Grimmsnarl screens, it's very difficult to kill Celesteela, right? So you always have that Celesteela endgame. Trick Room doesn't really matter for this team because you just stall it with screens and then just stall with Leech Seed and alternate protects. Alright, so you have ways around it, and you have double Fake Out with Incineroar and Rillaboom. So, you know, you're going to be pivoting a lot with these guys. And of course, our Eternatus is an offensive Eternatus, so we are running a Power or Meteor Beam set just to be able to remove Incineroars from the game, just like right from the get-go, is very helpful. And of course, your 2 stab moves are very good against the top 2 in the meta, right? Sludge Bomb for Xerneas, Flamethrower for Zacian, right? So that's always good. And if you're hitting any of those with a +1 because of Meteor Beam, then you're in business. But the main objective of the team is to get your screens up early, so this way things like Urshifu, Eternatus, and Celesteela can just clean up the game, right? So just chip things and get in position where your Steela and your Eternatus can finish the job. Now, because I have screens here, I've adjusted the Urshifu spread just a little bit here. This is our strongest Urshifu because I sacrifice some of the special defense and also the speed where I can just go more offensive with the attack. So we're actually Adamant plus 156, the second bump in the attack stat for Urshifu, and I felt like I can do that because I have screens, right? If I didn't have screens, then I would just go back to the Adamant 76 spread. But yeah, Urshifu's your big hitter here, so is Eternatus, Celesteela is your endgame, and your Rillaboom and Incineroar are just overall just to help you get in position with fake outs and positioning wise, and they can also help you against like Calyrex Shadow and the Kyogre matchup, and even Zacian, right? And again, Grimmsnarl is just something that I used a lot and on almost every team in Series 8, so you could even consider it the second Clover Bell Zycan, which is why I like this a lot, because you got Celesteela and Grimmsnarl back on the same team, and it was one of the best combos I even used in Series 9, right? So I'm very excited to bring it back for Series 10. So this is my personal favorite rental code for Series 10. This one right here. Okay, so give this one a go. Give all the rental codes a try. Let me know how you do with them. And again, guys, I've noticed that a lot of you guys that check out the channel, you are actually not subscribed. So we are getting close to 1,000. And if you like the content that I give you, if you like all the rental codes that we do, and if you like all the collaboration videos that we do, just hit that subscribe button. That's all I ask, right? You know, again, 1,000 subs is the big goal. So if you can help me out with that, very much appreciated. So until then, we'll be back with more collaboration videos, but I thought I'd just get you guys started with 5 more rental codes. All right, so peace out.